I am not going to say much, but I'm just going to immediately get into this review. Okay. Okay, so for this review, I will have 5 categories, each scoring out of 10 with a total score out of 50. I think that's pretty fair. That'll give you pretty accurate representation of whether this thing is worth the price. Though it's subject to your own opinion, of course. There was just a brief demo of what it does. I'll throw in a few cinematics at some point. But as you can see, the motion looks very good, which is what I will start with, I suppose. So, not any real complaints. One thing I would have liked to see is if they kept the head on a swivel like this one, like the arm, because that's a very cheap way, an inexpensive, I guess, way to give it some more motion, because this thing has 2 motions. The mouth, of course, moves like almost every prop does. And I will open up the back here so you can see the hip mechanism, which just rocks it back and forth. Similar to like twitching Banshee, only slower and less aggressive, so this thing will probably last a while. Now, this adds a lot, I think. Just having this go back and forth like this without even having a motor is excellent design. One thing I'd like to see, again, have the head be able to rotate the same way. But, for the price, I'd say the motion is justified, and I'll give it a 9 out of 10. I'll talk about the design. Now, the design of this thing is very, very good. One thing that I really like about it that I didn't realize until I built it here in my garage is it is very reminiscent of classic Spirit props from early to mid 2010s, which is the golden age of Spirit, and hopefully something that we will see a renaissance period of. Surprisingly low amount of zombies in recent years, to say the least. I like this moss stuff. I believe it's Spanish moss, just based on the appearance. And I think it fits it well. Because I think it's like enough to look swampy, but not too much to look like it couldn't fit anywhere else. Because not a ton of, room for a swamp theme in any haunted house, though it would be quite cool, and this would fit perfectly with that. Another thing that I'd like to mention is this bone in the leg, which I accidentally put on upside down, which sucks, but I could not fix it. But it's a very cool idea. I like that a lot. Makes it more unique than just every other prop that just has pants. I really like also the mix of this moss looking stuff with the creepy cloth. It adds a great effect, especially when covering the face, and this moss stuff on the hands is excellent. For design, I will give it an 8 out of 10. It could have used a little more patterns and such on the clothes rather than just having them essentially matte dark green with some brown accents. But very good. This category, I will talk about detail. And just looking at this thing, you can tell there's a lot. This is scary looking, alright? A lot of Spirit stuff is just kind of stupid and corny, but this is genuinely pretty freaky looking. Like, it looks very realistic. The hands, though they are plastic, do have quite a bit of detail for, they only really used 2 colors on them, but they did really good job with the molds. Again, with the detail, the different colored mosses and creepy cloths is an excellent touch. The eyes look very good also. This fragmented, torn piece on the skull, there's another one here, looks really cool. Again, in the detail, it almost feels like a revamped version of, classic Spirit, which is also excellent. So, for detail, this thing gets a 10 out of 10. Price. Now, this thing is kind of a bit steep. I think $200 or $220 would have suited it much better. However, with a coupon plus tax, you can get it from anywhere. It's $200 flat with a coupon, but for tax, it's maybe $10 to $20 more. But that's kind of irrelevant because everything has tax, But I do think for what you're getting, $250 is a bit expensive, but not horrific. I think 200 is much more reasonable, 220 also. So for that, I'll give it a 7 out of 10 in the price. Not bad though, but it's just a little bit steep. The setup on this thing, it is very simple. I know that's ironic because I messed up the leg and put it on upside down, but I was just not paying attention. Now, if I open the back here, I'll put in some better photos, but as you can see, it's very hollowed out. It's really simple. All you really need is just to put the wires together, and yeah, down here. So the only problem that I did have, which I'll take better pictures of once I take it apart, is I missed. It's kind of hard to put the hip piece on. It's just better if I show you here. It's hard to put this piece on because if you look here, you can see this part in which there are two different angles. These are always hard to put on. SVI has this problem consistently. Not sure what they could do to solve it. It just takes a little while to get it going, and I feel like I'm gonna break it. Other than that, though, setup super simple. Took like 10 minutes. Threading the arms through is a bit of a pain, but you know that's a given. You can't really try to. But for setup, I'm going to have to give it a 9 out of 10. That's really the only problem, and it's not even that big of a deal. It's not perfect, but it's close. So, and now for the final review. So, starting with its best quality, its details, it gets a 10. For its design, it gets a 9. For its setup, it also gets a 9. For its motion, it also gets a 9. And for its price, it gets a 7, unfortunately. Bringing the total to a rather low score of 43 out of 50. Not low, but just kind of unexpected. Which, if you double that to put it on the chart, is only 86 out of 100, which... I know I'm the one who made the chart, but I feel like that's inaccurate. I guess anything higher is of excellent quality, but this already is excellent. And for that, I will have to bump up its rating a few points. First of all, constant motion, excellent. That gets some bonus points. And the fact that you can hook up an external speaker also bumps it up a bit. I will have to give this thing in my eyes, personally, I will give it a 93%. And of course, this is subject to my opinion. You are entitled to your own. Do I think you should buy this? Absolutely. If you're low on money and you don't have a place for it, you just like it, I'd wait till next year. It's probably going to be around. If you do have the money and you do have a place for it, certainly use it. This thing fits well in a graveyard, in a swamp, pretty much anywhere with zombies anywhere that a zombie could be, this thing fits with it. Because it's not stupid complex, where it's super hyper-specific and it only fits in a few different places. This thing is very lenient, I would say. There's a lot of room for customization with the clothes. There's a lot of room for what you can add on to it, or how you can make this your own. It's not something like Grimm or the 12-foot skeleton where it's completely your own customization, where it's completely whatever you want to do, because this already starts with something. But if you wanted to cut this moss off, you wanted to give it a hat, you wanted to change its clothes up, you wanted to my final point, I like it a lot. You would probably like it if you got it. There you go.